XFL Jim here to talk Spring League and X League. Let's get into it. First things first, let's recap the games that were played. X League did not play at all this last week. They're gearing up for their semifinal rounds coming up next week. Very interested to see how that goes. Spring League played 2 games. One got canceled. The Jousters versus the Alphas canceled. Ended up being a forfeit from the Jousters. That's something I don't like to see. I don't like seeing if a game's canceled. I like both teams to either lose or both teams to win. Give them something or don't give them anything. But like it's friggin' there's a pandemic going on. Why are you gonna make one team forfeit just because they're like fucked? Like I don't. Okay. Anyway, let's get into the games that were played. Game number 1 got the Conquerors versus the Hues. And as a Hues fan and a Hues backer, this one hurt a lot. Conquerors win 42-19. Holy cow. This was surprising. Although it shouldn't be super surprising because Conquerors have been in every single game they've played. I just didn't expect them to blow a team out, you know? Offenses were both good in this game, at least in the first half. And then Conquerors just kind of like go away with it. I feel like the work with June Jones has paid off for them. And the Hues just couldn't keep up, and then problems on special teams and turnovers, it just kind of ended up being too much. I'm going to chalk this up to a look ahead for the Hues, as they're playing the Generals next week. I still like them. I still like the Hues to win it all. This actually shakes things up a bit. The Hues aren't just in second place all by themselves now. This is kind of making for an interesting sort of 3-way tie situation going into the finals. Interested to see how that plays out. My final point for the game. Conquerors, this is how I expected them to be at the start of the season. I expected them to be offensively really, really online and just be able to gun it and fun it and all that stuff. I think working with June Jones has really paid off for him. Okay, on to game number 2. We got the Generals versus the Blues, and the Generals win 42-28. The Generals are cementing themselves as the strongest team in the Spring League, and I think it's close. I think all the teams in this league are pretty close together. The Generals, man, they're good. They're a good team. Their offense is clicking. That defense is pretty good. I just don't know if anyone can keep up with them. This basically cements the Generals in first place. They're going to the finals. I don't really see any way of them not making it. The other teams have a whole point differential thing going on, but I'll get to that in a little bit. The Blues, they went from amazing in week 1 to like slowly going down my ranking each week, it feels like. I'm not sure if they're going to make it to the finals now. My final prediction is still Generals versus Hues. I'm going to spoil that for you right now. But yeah, the Generals, their offense and their quarterback, Brian Scott, super fun to watch. He's a great guy. The Generals, I want to see him next week again, see if they fall asleep at the wheel, but the Generals are going to be the team to watch. Final thoughts on week 3. With the Hues losing, it actually creates a lot of different fun scenarios, I think, for week 4. If the Hues win and the Alphas win, they tie, and it's a point differential thing, so it depends on how much each team scores in this game. And the Hues are going up against the Generals, so it's going to be a tough order for them. I think they can make it, but this is going to be a very interesting week. So it's going to be Alphas versus Blues, Jousters versus Conquerors, and Hues versus Generals. The most interesting would be a Hues win, an Alphas win, and a Conquerors win. I'm just interested to see how the Hues face up against the Generals. I want to see what they can do. I want to see if they bounce back from this loss. I actually like the Hues in this spot quite a bit. But anyway, that's enough Spring League talk. Let's move over to the X League, who did not play last week, so there's no recap, but there is a little bit going forward, and there's some fun information going on. Let's just go straight into the next round for the X League. You got the Frontiers versus the Phoenix, and the Frontiers are basically locked up. If they win this, they're in. They're into the X Bowl. They're done. They're probably going to win it. They're my favorite to win the whole thing. They're the best team so far. And the Phoenix not looking fantastic. Next up, you've got the Seagulls, the Obic Seagulls, my favorite team, versus the Panasonic Impulse. They're also playing for a spot. They're the other side of the bracket. The winner of this game goes on to the X Bowl. Loser, just nothing really happens to them. They stay in the same place. I like the Seagulls here a lot. I like the Seagulls versus the Frontiers. That was my matchup from the get-go. Then the next matchup you have is the Rise versus IBM Big Blue. The winner of this game, there's some interesting stuff that happens. I think if the Rise win, there might be a whole point differential thing, but they're really in a bad situation because they got blown out, and I don't really see them going forward. But this is still an important game because the loser goes on to face the Tokyo Gas Creators in the last place game, and the loser of that has to play for relegation. That's a no bueno for whoever gets relegated, just to let y'all know. X League coming down the wire. Spring League coming down the wire. These leagues are coming down the wire. This was a fast season, folks. We knew it was going to happen. There wasn't that many teams playing. Really fast through. Only a couple weeks, but it was fun. And it's been fun the whole ride through. There's been drama. There's been stuff happening. And let's give you my power rankings for both leagues. Spring League. Generals 1. Hues 2. I know they lost, but Hues still 2. I feel like this was kind of fluky. Alphas 3. Conquerors 4. Blue 5. Jousters all the way down at the bottom. That's the Spring League. X League. Frontiers number 1, Seagulls number 2, Impulse number 3, Feenies number 4, Big Blue number 5, and Rise number 6, and the Gas Creators all the way down on number 7. That's the X League. That's the Spring League. That's the X League. We're looking ahead. Next week's recap is going to have all the information you need for who's playing in the tournaments, who I'd like to win, what the whole situation is going on. I'm XFL Jim. Those are the leagues. This has been a great month so far. Let's keep it going, folks.